Prost, folks. Welcome back to Hopped Up Beer Review. Today, we're going to go visit our friends at Burial Beer Company and have their Fest, their Oktoberfest lager. Stick around.
Drink it down the haunted brew, Festbier gold with a spectral hue, laughing how the night is new.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hopped Up Beer Review, the show where we give you an unprofessional, somewhat biased opinion about the beer that we are drinking and reviewing. Back to do that once again. There is Andy in the attic, joined of course by Atticus. There's Jay. I am Ben. What are we drinking today?
Fest from Burial Beer Company. Their Oktoberfest lager. You know, we reviewed Burial several times. Asheville, North Carolina. Excited to try something different from these guys.
Yeah.
They
So,
always have such great can art and slogans, or titles.
what is the can art on this one? Is this like a...
Looks like a
Almost like a
cornucopia of things.
cornucopia of sorts.
Yeah.
I was really trying to get in there and look, but it's a lot of fall, floral, flower, and offerings.
Okay. I mean,
That's
just trying to
exactly
figure
what
out.
I was thinking. Yeah, you look close. You get like some sunflowers in there. You got like some berries.
I mean, my
Some
eyes just
vines.
aren't what they used to be, you know?
Almost looks like you got a spider right in here. If you look right here. I don't know if you guys can see that close. Like the legs coming down on the spider and it's centered right there.
Yeah.
Be my guess.
Ooh,
Yeah,
perhaps,
doesn't it look
Jay.
like that, Ed?
Yeah, like the pincers.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. You got them going up.
That is a
It's pretty
spider.
cool. If you look really closely, right there, yeah, on my.
Uh-huh.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, Ben's picture is quite fuzzy.
I work with what the
it's hard to
internet gives me.
capture some of their stuff. This is Fest for you, for us, for all. There we go. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Hot brow. Look at you two.
Matching
twinkling.
logos.
What? Look what we did. I just it's the season, and I got this dang boot that paid for in Helen and lugged around everywhere. Brought it back. Ah, look at you, Helen. Okay. Seeing what you're doing here. Fest is a fest beer. 5.9%, 20 IBUs. This style is relatively new beer, or this beer is relatively new for Burial. They don't do a lot of these styles of beers. It uses Size and Pearl hops and Epiphany Craft malt barley. Never heard that one. It's got the flavor of toasted sourdough, fall flowers, and iced spiced tea. I like their descriptions on this. After doing the research on this, I was looking forward to tasting this to see, how close that came.
Say it again.
It's iced spiced tea
And flowers.
fall flowers and toasted sourdough. We have done, we're at playlist level on Burial, but I'll go over because some people may not have seen some of our past episodes. Burial Beer Company is a microbrewery founded in 2013 in Asheville, North Carolina. 3 friends that were in Seattle wanted to open a brewery, looking for the ideal spot. Decided on Asheville, North Carolina, and started in an old transmission shop Transmission shop. Ooh, transmission shop. Say that quickly. It doesn't roll off the tongue. They started with a 1-barrel system. Their name and brand is inspired by New Orleans jazz funeral tradition, and that they celebrate life's fleeting moments with mindfulness and introspection.
And as we mentioned, they're great on their can art, and most of their other beers typically will have long titles or things like that. They specialize a lot in IPAs and stouts, but you'll find some of their occasional pilsners or fest like this. I think Andy, you've got a pilsner that we're going to have soon. But this one in particular, on the back, it says that this illustration was done by David Paul Seymour. So they even give credit to that, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah, this has got to be their shortest beer name based on what we've had at
It
least
is.
before. It's
some,
usually,
yeah, I mean, yeah, they're I guess what is it? Their standard year-round IPA is called Surf Wax. So I mean, it's 2 words, but
yep.
but yeah, I would say this one's probably one of the shorter ones that you'll get from them.
So Shadow Clock was a pilsner, wasn't it?
Right, and then we've got Profit Maker that we'll have later. So
I'm trying to recall the stout that we had. Have we had a stout from them?
I don't know that we have stouts. Their stouts are usually in big bottles, so they're either 500 or
Big Bottle
750.
Stout.
Yeah, I mean, I've got several of the big bottle stouts and some of their sour ales that they age on various different things.
Gotcha. All right. With that, Andy, why don't you go first?
I was curious, since they said they're relatively this new style, that they don't do Martins or Festbiers that I know of or that I've seen, or so I was curious whether it was going to be American version of the German style or the true to the German. And we all were in the American style before we got into more the German styles of the Fest beers and the Martins. And then we got in the German, and their versions were flipped from what the Americans would do. I think this is, for Fest beer, is closer to the it's almost in between, but
Yeah, that's
it
exactly
is
what I thought.
it,
Kinda in
it, it
between both
is
of them.
it's not so much. The Germans' Fest beers we found were a little more caramelly than the US's, and the Germans' Martins were more biscuit and bread than the US's caramel Martins, sweet. And this in the Fest beer, if it was going to be more German, it should be more malty caramel, like sweet, but it's not all the way there, because it's got a touch of bitterness to it that kind of holds it back. And I think that sourdough, that toasted sourdough is a good descriptor. Nonetheless, it tastes German enough, German adjacent. I think they did a good job. 7.5. I like it. I would drink it again. But it's definitely a fall beer. It's 5.9%, but it's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
I should have asked Jay, have you had this one yet? Given that
I have not. I actually have another one stored away.
Wow, what do you think, Jay? Why don't you go next?
I mean, I think Andy hit the nail on the head. This is in between basically the American and the Germans, where we've had them before. It's not off to the far like the Americans, and it's got really good flavor. To me, I think the big thing with this one is probably more the bitter, and maybe that's part of the style from Burial. They're used to with making so many different IPAs and other things like that, and retaining a little bit of that bitter in there. Um, and I think the descriptions are always fantastic. Fall flowers, toasted sourdough. I even could taste not necessarily iced spice tea, but when you said that, I was thinking iced tea, a little bit of even that in there. It's it's interesting. It's really good. And glad to see Burial branching out. As you said, they haven't done this very long, so I think it's good for them. 7.5 is what I had in mind as well. So
I think on first couple sips of this one, I agree with y'all that it's somewhat in between. So it's kind of hard to place, American versus German just based on what we've experienced. But at the same time, I think it's enough different that it's I don't know. I'm struggling to explain this one a little bit. I definitely get the sourdough to me is the bitter. That like I wouldn't have I would have said it was more sour than bitter personally. And I think that sourdough is the reason why. And then I get almost the it's not a grassy flavor, but it is a thought of
earthy
fall.
tone.
Yeah, the
Fall
fall
flowers.
Yeah, I mean,
Fall
so I
flowers.
think you're right, Jay. They do a great job of describing what their beer is tasting like. I don't so much get the tea myself or the spice, but really the sour flavor to me is the biggest in the beer. So definitely not what I was expecting from a fest beer overall with the bubbles there. But that being said, I think it's good. I would have it again for sure. I won't say it's my favorite though in these lines of fest beers, Martins. If I'm looking at if I'm walking around in September and I'm looking at all the Oktoberfest beers, I don't know that this one's the one that I'm going to grab over some of the others that I've had in the past. If I have just my option at any that I've had previously.
I agree. Yeah. If you had to choose, this one or another one you've had, I could see grabbing another Festbier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one's fine. I'll drink it again. I like it, but it's just enough different that I don't like it for the fest beer aspect personally, if that makes sense. This one's a 7 for me. Again, it's still a beer I'd like to have. Placing it in that fest beer, I think, is why I drop it now. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's
I'd
one of
say,
those, if you like visit their brewery and you're there around this time of the year or Oktoberfest time of the year, it'd be one you'd try on draft probably.
For sure, yeah. If I could try this on draft, I definitely would want to. Definitely, especially amongst all the IPAs. Yeah.
if I was there getting a flight and I could only get one flight and choose four, I'm not going to get this one. I'm going to go for their range of IPAs. So
Yeah.
that said, their IPAs blow this out of the water. So.
They know what they do good.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yo, Joe.
That is going to be a 7.3 for the Fest from Burial. Definitely one. If you've tried, let us know down below in the comments. But hey, come say hey on our Hopped Up Beer Review Discord server. It's a scary time of year with Halloween coming up, but there's nothing scary about Hopped Up Beer Review Discord server. It's quite safe and secure. So come say hey. We'd love to have you there. Also, we've got links down below for Hopped Up Beer Review merch, Hopped Up Beer Review Patreon, and some other things. Check all that out as well. Be sure to like, subscribe, cheers that notification bell. We would love to have you as a subscriber. So do that, and that'd be great. With that, for Andy in the attic and Jay, I've been. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates. Prost.
Drink it down.